We're here in Belle Isle for the IndyCar, Grand Am, and World Challenge Racing. Racing's back to Detroit first time since 2008, but we're here focused on the World Challenge event. Production-based racing, you love that stuff. We're here with Cadillac Racing. 80% of their car is production-based or production-derived. So we're going to talk to everyone involved in Cadillac, the drivers, the engineers and technology people, to find out how this race car works, how it transfers to the CTS-V road car, and how this thing works on a race environment like Belle Isle.
You know, cars are still exciting. It's still a big reflection of who you are. I think that's very important. Every time we race, it makes our engineers better.
Let's talk a little bit about what World Challenge is. I think you know it, but let's cover the details. There's a diversity of different type of cars in this series, from the all-wheel drive turbo Volvo, obviously, to the CTS-V V8 powered Cadillacs, Audi R8. There's a Ferrari in the series, but not here. A lot of different cars competing in that GT class, and then in GTS, Mustangs, Camaros, things like the Acura. It's a sprint race format, and that has an effect on the design of the cars, different from endurance racing, the Corvette racing cars and the Ferraris that run at Le Mans. I'm going to spoil the tease a little bit. We got a chance to go for a ride in two of the World Challenge race cars, the Volvo all-wheel drive and the Cadillac Racing CTS-V Coupe. And it was very interesting to feel, first impression, they're real race cars. Even though 80% production-based or production-derived by weight in the Cadillac, there's no question this is a race car doing race car things. Mark Royce earlier for General Motors, in particular talking about Cadillac, talked about the technology connection between production and race car. And it's really easy to kind of dismiss that as just a marketing claim. But what we're going to get a chance to do is dive into the facts and look at those direct connections.
Every time we compete, it breeds that competitive edge into our products. So that's very important for us. But you know, there's things like direct injection and some of the sophistication of the thermal systems that go into Cadillac in particular.
For sure, there's electronics, items from ABS to traction control, and aerodynamic situations that certainly present themselves that we learn with a race car that can be transferred to the street car, and vice versa. They have volumes of knowledge about the CTS-V, as an example, in wind tunnel conditions.
Well, this particular, it has the same wheelbase as the street car. The unibody starts at the same place, so the car has the same basic characteristics. When you turn in with a longer wheelbase car, you've got a nice amount, you can feel the car turn in. It's not a shorter wheelbase car, it feels more like a go-kart. This thing, if you're slow with your hands, the car will respond, and it does drive very similar in a sense to the street car.
Now, I heard this morning on the wet session, you guys were tuning the traction control, maybe even a little of the ABS, and I learned that those same adjustments are possible in the road car.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got adjustment in the street car as well. It's slightly different, but you've got adjustability between sport and non-sport in the street car. Yeah, it's the street stuff now is for many manufacturers, but in particular the V, because of all that power, you have to make sure that you can control it. But for guys that want it a little more sporty, they want to be able to turn some of it down, and that's a big benefit.
One of the things you have to do when you're designing high-performance cars is make sure you've got enough powertrain cooling airflow. And the fact that we're able to use pretty much the same front end and same grille openings on the race car as the street car tells you the attention to detail we actually had.
It's actually, for a race car, it's got pretty good compliance. The compliance, we put softer springs in, very, very heavy anti-roll bars, so it stops it rolling, and we've got a great shot package. But the springs themselves are reasonably soft.
one of the things when you have sort of a fastback is you have to make sure you manage the airflow off the car. And if you have too fast or too slanted a roof back there, you end up having a lift issue. So one of the ways we balance that on the production car, and you see something similar on the race car, is what we call the Chimsler center high mount stop lamp, is actually working also as an air spoiler, and we get about 50 pounds of downforce from that spoiler at 150 miles an hour. Again, helps keep the car planted.
You must be managing the air around the side of the car as well?
Yeah, you'll notice that on the production car we've got sort of a splitter on the front end that helps keep air from getting under the car. That helps prevent lift. And then we carry that length of the car. We've got lower rockers, and the actual ride height of the car is lowered about 15 millimeters from a regular CTS, all in the intent of keeping air from getting under the car and causing lift at high speed.
Tell me if I'm right or wrong. It looks like the car is pretty balanced as it's transitioning.
Well, no, and again, that's due to a lot of the work done by Cadillac Racing over the winter. You know, last year was the first year, running this car. We learned a lot. You know, over the winter we did a lot of, work in the wind tunnel and looking at a lot of data. So the guys have given us a better package this year.
You've driven the road car. You've driven the race car. Give me a dynamic that's comparative.
Oh God, yeah, I got it. You know, as a guy that drove a Corvette for 10 years, you know, I love my street car. You know, the CTS-V is, you know what, and it's also wild because in all those years, you know, when I was in my Corvette, maybe twice a year people would say, hey man, I like your car. It is literally every week in my CTS-V that somebody comes up to me and said, dude, I love your car. So, you know, what I like about it is the athleticism of it, but still, you know, being very comfortable. And you know what, I can get more than 4 people in it.
I'm liking driving race cars again. You like when I drive them as well. I appreciate that, but I can't do it all the time. Here at World Challenge, we get a chance to ride in 2 race cars. Cadillac CTS-V World Challenge car and the Volvo all-wheel drive turbo. And around the Belle Isle street course was an interesting and different experience with each car. Cadillac, much more refined. Frankly, a closer connection to the refined road car. It just did the transitions better and went through the ripples of the pavement in a much more balanced way. The Volvo, a very, very abrupt and rough race car. Quick transition, settling itself, and a mega turbo boost coming out of the corners. But the connection to the road car was a wider. This was a real harsh road race car. This is a refined road car. But at the end of the day, they're both really, really good race cars, production-based or not, and really carry speed around this track. So one thing, hopefully, we're all learning about the essence of a good production-based race car from this World Challenge experience is just that. If the roots of a road car are good, it makes for a much better, much more successful race car. All of that translates to a driving feel and dynamic that everyone wants in their enthusiast car. That's pretty much what production-based racing is all about, why you like it, why it seems to work for the manufacturers.